Giving Back to Z is a non-profit organization which began as a very small entity. With reference to our name, we give back to the community or communities in Zambia, hence our name, Giving Back to Z, which is basically giving back to Zambia. Let us go through some definitions as we talk about giving back to the community, giving back to Z. A community, according to a study in sociology, is a social group with some degree of we feeling and living in a given area. For instance, two people get married or two or more people start living together. They are called a family, or Ntemba as described in a certain Zambian local language. So a group of two or more people living together is called a family. Then a group of families in the same geographical area is what makes up a community. Like most big corporations such as Apple, Toyota, Microsoft, or even Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, or Twitter, they all started with an idea that somehow mushroomed in someone's mind, just like the idea of giving back to Z. Now let's talk about the founder of Giving Back to Z. A certain inspirational lady by the name of Susan Mutambo lived in Zambia until she eventually migrated or moved to the USA, even if she was born in Zambia and raised by a Zambian family. So Zambia, or Z, is in Africa, very far away from the USA. After Susan Mutambo got settled in the USA, she would miss her family a lot, the family that she left back in Zambia. Susan Mutambo would at times travel back to see her family with different gifts from America, including clothes or things like candy for her younger family. Otherwise, to save on travel costs, sometimes Susan Mutambo would just send or have a courier company deliver the things like clothes to her family from USA to Zambia. What Susan Mutambo did not know was that her family were so excited to have her in the USA, such that whenever she sends them different items, her family in Zambia would distribute or share some of the received items with the community. This automatically made that local community look forward to Susan Mutambo's visits or to whatever she would send. Her family did not know how to tell her that they actually share with the local community. There was a time she sent 5 pairs of jeans to her young brother Rupiah. When she visited Zambia at that time, she found that Rupiah had only 2 of the pairs of jeans, and she wondered what happened to the other 3. Not knowing that Rupiah's friends equally benefited. He had 3 friends that would hang out with him, so he gave them each a pair of jeans, making him remain with 2 only. One notable thing about supporting any community around you is that the same community are very willing to support you at any time you need them. For instance, if Susan Mutambo's family in their Zambian household ever ran out of sugar or something of that sort, it was very easy for them to ask a neighbor who would give them what they wanted with a true heart. But then for so long, Susan Mutambo was still unaware of all these happenings, that her family in Z were sharing their gifts that she would send to them on a regular basis. News of the different clothes that Susan Mutambo's family would receive and share with the surrounding community began to spread vividly because different community members would brag about wearing something from America or eating some candy from New York. And then one day, Susan Mutambo received some very disheartening news about the passing of a loved one back at home in Zambia. Her family in Z were so devastated with the bereavement, not knowing what to do. However, the same surrounding community came together to support Susan Mutambo's family with different activities like fetching firewood, making sure there is enough drinking water at the funeral, or activities like cooking for all the mourners that were present and more. Susan Mutambo made all arrangements to travel to attend the funeral and went through a number of connecting flights. She was actually expecting to be received by 1 or 2 family members at the airport, yet she was totally wrong. An entire community had organized people to go and meet her along with her family members at the airport and were available for encouragement as they went to the funeral house, where she found a larger community supporting her and her family during this sad happening. After the funeral and the added cultural practices that happened back at home in Zambia, Africa, with her family, she got on a flight back to the USA. While on this flight, she had many amplified thoughts, especially now that she knew that the little things she would send to her family were benefiting an entire community. This is what eventually led to the birth of the non-profit organization known as Giving Back to Zed, which is run by Susan Mutambo herself and other executive members. She shared the story of what she found in Zambia, adding the massive support she got from the surrounding community in Zambia. Her friends and other Zambians that were in the USA or the diaspora equally began putting things together so that Susan Mutambo and the executive members of Giving Back to Zed could send them all at once at given times as they give back to Zed. Eventually, with years, people that are in Zambia that stumble upon the Giving Back to Zed Facebook page also contribute different items to Susan Mutambo and her Giving Back to Zed crew so that they choose or orient the received gifts appropriately. Even a certain college student who realized that she had so many clothes that she had grown out of contacted Giving Back to Zed via Facebook and asked how she could deliver her excess clothes to the organization. The student successfully handed the clothes over to a committee member of Giving Back to Zed and was eventually tagged to a post on the page where clothes and other items were being given to the women's prison in Lusaka, Zambia. At Giving Back to Zed, we believe in giving back to the community. Contact us for more details.